Welcome everyone to the Race Spec Pacific, PS Pacific Tier 1 Saturday Endurance League Round 3 in Australia at the Albert Park Circuit. And yes, we are at home today at the 5.3 kilometer circuit with 16 turns, 6 to the left and 10 to the right, a clockwise circuit with 3 DRS zones as you can see on there and 2 detection points for those DRS zones. 58 laps around this track today in the endurance category. And with me today we have the return of Mr. Tent-Sandles. How are you doing today?
I am good, thank you. Keen for another round to watch these boys. Should be good.
Back in action, we are back in action, back from race 1 at Bahrain that we had, and I had another guest with me last week, but yeah. Ooh, Australia, I feel like we haven't driven here in quite a long time. That's how it feels to me. I don't remember the last time Race Spec was at here, and yeah, it's a bit of a tough street circuit. Tight, narrow, but high speed, and yeah, definitely, I feel like definitely one of those more difficult ones, or for me at least anyway. I don't know what you think of the circuit yourself.
Yeah, I find it as a pretty difficult circuit as well, especially with how the curbs are nowadays in this game. Bit more dangerous as well, but still a pretty rewarding circuit when you get it right.
Just tweaking a bit of audio stuff here. Apparently there's a bit of audio mismatch, so I'll just change that there for you guys at home. Yes, exactly what you just said. I was definitely listening to what you're talking about as I was fiddling around with the audio. As we see our first car come on track of Banana Josh, and also what I just happened to have a sneak peek on there, which has got everyone talking in the chat, is apparently a wet race around here. Looks like a dry qualifying, but a wet race, and straight away that is going to throw a lot of spanners in the works here. What are the guys going to do with setups? Are they going to go with a wet race setup and try and to stick it through quali with that extra downforce, or are they going to risk it a little bit more for that quali position and risk a bit more in the race with a low downforce setup?
Well, I'll tell you what I would do personally. Personally, I would just go for the higher downforce, play it safe. You can never really play it safe enough in the wet. It's so easy just to lose that rear end a small bit, especially around a dangerous circuit like this, and with the walls being so tight. It just takes one little mistake, you're in the wall, your race is done.
Indeed, I would also do the same, err on the side of the caution of that, as we see Banana Josh F1 coming around for a lap. 10 takes us around a lap of this Albert Park circuit.
Alrighty then, so here we have Banana Josh coming down the main straight. He should brake pretty late, yet turn in heaps. Didn't take as much curb that I think he would for that first corner. You want to use all of the exit there, and then as you hit this one, you want to touch a bit of curb and not too much. Oh, he doesn't touch any curb, but that's alright, it's only a banker. Don't want to touch that inside curb. Can go on that outside one. Do not want to touch this curb at all. Now, he should brake late and take a fair chunk of this inside curb as well. As he does, heaps take all of the outside curb. Hold it tight through there, and then next corner also taking a lot of curb with a lot of exit curb as well. Which he does right up against the wall. Beautifully done. Now we should see him take a solid amount of this curb as well, but this is the most dangerous spot. Hopefully he does not lose the rear end, which he doesn't. Very nicely done. Now we should see him also just nip the curb here, which he does take a little bit, and also here, no curb taken. Now this is also a tricky corner. Don't want to touch that grass as you go into that corner, or else you will lose the rear end. Also a tricky corner here. Beautifully done as he comes across the finish line with a 1:22.2, which is a solid banker lap.
Yeah, still mucking around with audio a little bit there. Thanks for the feedback, Clunky Boy in the chat. Kyle as well. Hey, how you doing? And Flaming Midnight. Yep, just mucking around with the audio because we had some complaints last time that Mr. Tent-Sandles was too quiet. So now I've clearly gone overboard and gone too far, and he's too loud now. But we'll muck around with our audio levels a little bit here and there until we get something very nice in between. Yeah, so he's the first guy. I think we'll see a couple of guys coming around on their lap laps now too, but a 1:22.2. It's fairly respectable time to get on the board straight away. Everyone on the soft tyre because, of course, it is apparently a wet race and there's absolutely no need to qualify on that medium tyre. Who else have we got coming on here? What's that? Is that someone stopped on the main straight there? And that McLaren? Yeah, Mr. Chronic Saints there having a little bit of a spin on the main straight, just getting over to the side for racing up to there, who sets a 1:22.3 to hold P2 at this current moment. I'm excited as well for the track changes here that we're going to have this season, and we'll talk a little bit about those a little bit later, but also concentrating on the action that we got here. So we see a few more times starting to come in there. Zach with a 22.9, so that Banana Josh time's looking pretty strong currently, and holding that P1 just shut my mouth as Ford there absolutely smashes that with a 20.8 there. Wow, okay, yeah, he's laid down the gauntlet. Ferrari Pro also just on a, I think that was an invalidated lap, so he's going to be going again most likely by the looks of it on his first flyer. BP, again, shut my mouth. BP choosing to go on that medium tyre and setting a very respectable 22.7, which is a bit of a surprise why he chooses to go on that medium tyre. Maybe he just thinks he's got pace, and maybe actually it's not concrete rain, even though most of the boys in the chat seem to be panic stations about that wet.
Yeah, so maybe he's thinking try and take those mediums all the way to the rain, and then switch to whatever tyre you need. Most likely will probably be Inters, and hopefully be in a good position there.
It's gonna be a tough race here in the wet. It's it's a street circuit. It's not got as much grip as some of these tracks, the actual track circuits, and yeah, and the walls and the gravel. It's one of those few circuits that's still got a lot of gravel traps and a lot of grass, not many runoff areas. So it's going to be very tricky races for Ferrari now. Just coming around the last couple of corners on his flying lap, as he goes across the line, we'll see where that leaves him. With the 22.4, that's nice. They're stuck in P5 at the moment. And as we're talking about Ferrari Pro, I'd just like to get onto this point. We are going to be doing something very special here this season at Endurance, and we're going to be taking a look at a particular driver every weekend, doing an in-depth chat with him, letting you guys at home there sort of learn a bit more about those drivers that are racing in this series, and a bit more intimate. And in that respect, we have Ferrari Pro in the comm box with us at the moment, and he's going to give us a little chat about himself. Ferrari Pro, are you there?
Yes, I am.
He is here. Welcome, everybody. Say a big welcome to Ferrari Pro, one of our younger drivers in this series, and we're going to be following him this weekend and having a little bit of a chat with him. So tell us about yourself a little bit. How long have you been with Race Spec for?
I've been in since the start of season 5 last year. Last season, whatever you like to call it. Yeah, just thought it would be a fun little thing to get into, and
yeah,
I'm doing
and
actually quite well this season.
Yeah, indeed. And you race in which categories at the moment?
Elite Series and Endurance.
Yeah, that Elite Series on a Sunday night, and those guys over there, they race with no assists at all, which is really good practice, and it really requires a lot of control of the car. Whereas in Endurance here, we allow a few assists, but the race is a lot longer. And yeah, so let's I can hear some clicking in the background, which is definitely your wheel there. Would you like to tell us what kind of setup you've got?
I've got a Logitech G29 on like this nice comfortable stand for my height, and I've just got like a flat screen TV right in front of me and that. And that's Jeff right there. That's
good old Jeffrey telling you your best lap, and apparently a little birdie told me as well you do a bit of karting here, not unlike Mr. here Tent-Sandles in the combox.
Yeah, I just do a couple test mates karts and all that, and Yeah,
So,
basically drive it whenever I can.
yeah, a bit of real life experience there alongside the sim world, which we'd love to see. And of course, you wouldn't be here unless you were an F1 fan. Who is your man? Who is your team?
Sebastian Vettel. He's definitely my sports idol and my racing idol. But yeah, Ferrari is my favourite team. I respect
Surprisingly,
both
with
of them,
that kind of name of Ferrari Pro.
Yep, and Seb's just a favourite driver.
Yeah, that's I myself am a Ferrari fan also. In fact, Ten and me both race for Ferrari in the Tuesday round 2. Okay, season. So you have been going pretty well so far. Unfortunately, missed the last race, but was that P2? Was it in the first race?
Yeah, P2 in
Yeah,
Bahrain.
so pretty strong. What are you looking at? What's your season expectation?
Top three.
Top
Or
3.
top 5.
Whoa, yes, we'll be watching.
I
on
feel
to
like
see that.
I could challenge for the championship against Ford, but as we can see on the lap times right now, he's pretty indestructible at 120.8, 1.1 against Scotty,
Yeah.
and 1.5 to myself. So I reckon he will be definitely the favourite for the championship. But I'd love to get a good go on this one.
And can you confirm for us? Is it wet, the race?
Yeah.
All the way through?
Yep. I looked into the 120 meter mark, and it's the worst it's going to get is 91%.
Oh, wow, okay, alright, well, this is going to be tough for you running a wet set. Oh, as we see, racing up to, sorry to interrupt there, he's gone into the wall there, around turn 9, can we see that coming? Yeah, on the exit at turn 10 there, just very close up to the wall on that lake section there, and he's obviously gone a little bit too wide coming out through there. And I also hear that this is one of your favourite tracks, is it not?
Yeah, it's my favourite track when I get the right lap in, but for racing, it is probably one of my favourite tracks. Probably top 5 on this game.
Nice, and also you, of course, even though you're in elite, you're still racing here with no assists, so props to you. We love to see that. Yeah, so a little bit of insight here. We've gone for a bit of a wet setup then, considering it's a full wet race.
I've gone for a 9.6 setup.
Nice.
So,
Ooh, a bit low on the rear downforce, so you're not a bit scared in the wet?
not really. Feel quite comfortable in it, but just when you run a low setup like that, you just gotta be more cautious, I'd say.
Yeah. And are you gonna take us around a lap of this circuit, Mr. Friday?
Yeah, sure. I'll start her up and we'll get out there.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And yeah, so obviously being a wet race, that just throws the strategy completely out the window, and it's just more about a survival kind of aspect in terms of that. Why is there a couple of cars in Sector 1 they're not moving, or is that a glitch on my track map? Nope, that is a car that's gone round, a Banana Josh, and also, is that the Aston Martin, I think, just went round. And but we'll stick on board with you as GeForce Ford, they're setting a 20.4 and going even quicker. BP the second car, and he's a whole second off of that. He's really laying down the gauntlet. What can we do? What can you do, Ferrari?
I could definitely like a 121, but the anxiety will definitely be there. Talking on
well, we won't put you off too much, and only do as much as you're comfortable with. We don't want to mess up your qualifying. So if you go into concentration mode, we'll fully understand that, but we will ride on board with you coming around this circuit. And yeah, favourite part of the track?
Turn 1 and 2. I just love flying through there.
Yeah,
like the whole
think I'd have to
first
agree
sector,
with
I just love.
Yeah.
And the turn 11 and 12, quick left right here is pretty cool also.
So
Up on the exit curve
flags
there.
behind you, but that's nothing to worry about. Looks like you got pretty free track, not much traffic throughout. Not many cars a few cars in the pits, but I think they'll be all right. They won't get in your way. As yeah, I'll let you take us around this circuit.
All right, so put your ERS in the hot lap and around turn 16 on the Organy Drive for the main straight, and gauge the DRS, and we're off for a lap of Albert Park. Turn 1 brake around 100 metre mark or even less. Try not gain as much curb on the first 2 corners, and up for this straight. As we do a little bit of lock up, not ideal. But seem to get around there alright. Not all good, but this is a tricky corner here. You've got to try and feed the car onto this corner and a bit of oversteer. And oh god. And my wheel is yeah. So
that's a bit of front wing damage there by the looks of that end plate. It's missing. Unlucky. That lap was looking pretty strong, and I was going to say props to you because that was difficult to do to Chad there. And what we might do then is leave you to concentrate and get a lap in instead of being a distraction here. So thank you again for joining us here. Much appreciated, and good luck for the race. Try and try and survive if you can throughout the race, and good luck to you again.
Alright, thank you boys.
Catch you later. Wow. Yeah, I think we may have put him off a little bit there. Just a little bit too wide coming out of that corner, unfortunately, because it was looking pretty strong. And could you do that? Could you commentate and go through a lap?
Oh, I could, but it wouldn't be a very good lap. I don't think I would be able to set, obviously, a lap that I'd want for quali, but yeah.
But yeah, props to him for giving her, and props to him for being the first one on this driver interview thing. I think next week we might have the current champion GeForce 4 joining us, so that's that's going to be pretty exciting to tune in with him, and we'll see if we can distract him a little bit from setting a fastest lap. As we see Karma now coming around to start his lap, which will most likely be his last lap of this session. And yeah, he's got a bit of improving to do. As this guy sitting in P15 at the moment, last with a 22.7. I'm sure he's got plenty of time left in the tank to improve on. Gets that corner nicely hooked up there, as we saw Ferrari Pro locking up there. Very easy to do, especially with the shadows on this track. Wow, those shadows are a pain in the arse around this afternoon setting around the Albert Park circuit. Karma's still carrying on here. Yeah, he's looking very tidy lap. Trevor's lining up the sectors currently, and this, yeah, we've already seen a mistake on that exit of turn 10 along the wall. The guys want to get as close up to that wall, get as much time on the exit, really push the limits, but it's so easy just to push it that just tiny bit too hard into the wall, and you're out of here. As we see, who's that? Banana Josh down. Looks like his car's still moving though. I wonder if we can just interrupt this lap here. He was still moving. That was very strange. See if we can see from here, but he's retired down at turn 3. Silverfort taking. Yeah, he's disappeared unfortunately. But we'll just Karma there, P4 with a 21.7. That is a great improvement and a much needed improvement from him. I wonder if he's going to still continue on with trying to set another one. He's got enough energy there, and also looks like he's got enough fuel to keep going around here. Who else have we got here? There's a car, and as we see qualifying now coming to an end with Silverfort there on a lap, also looking to improve upon his time. Minardi Berger also out of this session. We've got a few guys. Scotty sitting down in P9, which is, I'm sure he wanted to be a bit higher there. Plebs with a 21.5, popping it into P3. Scotty on the exit of that curve gets a little bit squirrely. And yeah, these guys still going. Scotty's still going along. Who else have we got? Alex is also on a lap, very close down that bottom end of the top 10. Ford setting an even quicker time, solidifying his spot in P1 with another 20.4. Closest contender BP with a 21.4. What can he? Whoa, that was a very close car of Chronic Saints there. I think he is also. Or was that Karma that's binned it? Sorry, that's Karma's binned it on the on that 12. Again, very easy to do on those curves. These guys pushing the limits of this track. Silverfort also. What's going on here? We're losing drivers. I think he's given up. Actually, he's just pulled into the pits as Silverfort. As we see Scotty now, what can he do? Did he improve? Is that P2? Did I see on his steering wheel? It disappeared then before I could see, which is a little bit annoying.
No improvement there, unfortunately. He did invalidate his lap in that final sector.
Damn. Okay, so that's yeah, Scotty finishing a little bit low there. BP but it's just Ford, untouchable from that session.
Yeah, absolutely mega lap there from Ford.
And where's our old mate Ferrari Pro? I don't see him anyway. That's
unfortunately in 15th.
Bit of a worry. Ooh dear, that's maybe a bit of have we done a bit of commentator's curse on Ferrari Pro there?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, down in that's definitely not where he's going to be wanting to finish. So we'll be definitely watching him at the start there. See if he's going to have a bit of an overtaking fest here. I think he's going to definitely want to keep it. Yes, the race is wet, TC. It is full wet all the way through. But that was that was good to hear from the Ferrari Pro. And next week we'll have Ford in the box, and it'll be definitely interesting to hear from him, our current championship leader.
Yeah, it was good to hear from him, but since it is a wet race, he's in 15th though. We don't know what's going to happen. It's a wet race, could be plenty of safety cars. He could end up first for all we know at the moment.
Anything can happen in this Formula 1 world, and anything has happened in previous races, and anything probably will happen. But yeah, from the back, he does have a bit of work ahead of him, does Ferrari. And but yes, if there's one place you can pick up positions, it's in the wet. There's going to be total chaos, no doubt, into turn 1. But I'm a little bit worried about his setup there with a 9.6. That seems very unstable on the rear end for a wet. See how that works out for him to this session. Why are we waiting? Yeah. Here we go. There's the countdown starting. Just yeah, I've had some worrying lobbies recently where we've been stuck with the swirly circle and not gone anywhere. But we are underway, and they get looking actually pretty good there with the puddles. I just have to comment on that. Bit of props to Cody's. It's looking pretty. Oop, what was that? Bit of yeah, looking pretty good with the spectator cam here for wets.
Yeah, and Ford running below min-fuel by the looks as well, so as in the wet you save a lot of fuel, so yeah.
Yeah, there's I think that's all. I'm sure we'll be seeing safety cars throughout this race. Wet just you know, just negates the need to have too much fuel. You just use less fuel in the race. So anyway, we'll go through the top, through the grid for you guys. Ford there, P1 with an absolutely commanding pole position, the second clear of the rest of the field. BP, really good qualifying from him in alongside Ford on the front row. Plebs on the second row with Karma alongside him in the McLaren. Then we've got Silda Fort in the Red Bull, and he'll have Zach alongside him. The two Aston Martins next to each other. Those guys, I think, will be ones to watch again. Both cars in the top 10. Solid chance of points on for them. Chronic Saints and Scotty rounding off the top 10. Then we've got Alex in the Mercedes racing up to who has moved to the Haas from Alfa Romeo, I believe. Is that correct, Tim?
Yes, that is correct.
Banana Josh in the Alfa Romeo, Minardi in the Williams, so we have someone representing the Williams team, and rounding off the grid, Ferrari Pro in the Ferrari. Yes, so we'll be keeping an eye at Ferrari Pro throughout the races. He is our driver. We'll be following along with and watching this race, so we'll be keeping a close eye on him. But yeah, just getting a bit of temperature into those wet tyres, sussing out the tricky conditions. How much grip is there on this full wet track? Probably not a lot, as you can see. Ferrari Pro putting a bit of drift action coming around the last couple of corners, and the cars coming onto the grid now, lining up on their grid spots. Hopefully we'll get a good, nice camera angle from the start of here. But that turn 1, bit of a bottleneck coming into a high-speed bottleneck for these guys, so they'll want to try and keep it nice and clean through there. All the guys looking like they've underfueled a little bit as well. I think you'd have to be a little bit silly to put extra fuel. As we see the lights, everyone in their grid spots, bit of timing glitch there. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4, 5. revs. And off they go. A little bit slower start on the right-hand side of the grid. Will they, cars fanning out now, will they keep it clean into the first corner? Ferrari already looking for action in the back there. BP down into turn 1 has already gained on that, on Ford there. Ford not having quite a good start. You can see Silverfort there struggling with the grip as they come round the first couple of corners. Ferrari Pro having made a couple of positions already off the start of here on racing up to Minardi. Is he going to look around the outside? Yes, he is around the turn 3-4 complex. Not going to be quite close enough there. But there, a couple of changes at the front. Bags also having a great start. Chronic Saints Karma having a poor start off there. And who else has had a bad start? Just those two guys there. Nice and tight at the front here. They're going to just want to settle into a bit of a rhythm, just suss out the grip there. Not push too hard too early. But Ford having retaken the P1 position. Well, yeah, Clunky Boy, we did think about commentator's curse there, but that's alright, we don't believe in that here. As BP gets past Ford, struggling on the traction again. Same kind of deal as the start. And yeah, BP, good job there. Tricky conditions, making 2 overtakes already. And Ford just right up on the back of him straight away, looking to retake the position side by side, coming around 12 and into 13. He's going to have enough overlap here. BP looking around the outside, he's going to struggle, leaves him space. Struggling with attraction around this section, side by side. Plebs having a look. Oh, and he's gone round. He's gone round. Has Ford. Ford's gone round. He's going to want to get out of the way as quickly as possible. Ooh, very close to these cars, and he gets around safety there. Not sure. They did look like they gave themselves enough racing room. I don't know what you think about that tent there.
Did look like enough racing room. There was a little wheel banging, but nothing too bad.
That's going to put a bit of dent into Ford's weekend there at the back. He's not too far off the grid as Scotty gets right at the back of Banana Josh into turn 1. The pack has separated out a little bit in the front there. But these guys, side by side, Alex having a look on the Aston Martin on the outside. Aston Martin holding that inside line. Can he hold a bit of, gives him a bit of a squeeze up on that curve? Does Bagsy get? And Alex is straight through around turn 4 in the car park section of this track.
And it seems that Mighty Wombat has crashed.
Is he taking damage? His wing looks intact. Was around that the first couple of corners on the curb, I take it? Or is that...
Yes, it did look like that.
Banana Josh right up on the... Look at these guys. Are they trying to go 3 wide into this section in pairs? 2 wide. Scotty down the inside. Holds onto that position. Ferrari already up 5 places. He's having a good run here through the wet. A lot of confidence from him. He's pushing and he knows that he's on view. So he's going to show us a great race, I'm sure, around here. Bags there picking up the first penalty of the afternoon. I'm sure there'll be more to follow in these tricky conditions. Gets a really good run, does Ferrari on Karma, coming out of turn 12. Round the outside, and Karma there conceding that position to Ferrari. Him getting another spot already.
Yes, Ferrari Pro there, working really hard to make up for that poor qualifying. Oh, and we got Milford going through.
Minardi.
Sorry, Minardi. Is he going to try and cut back here? He does. Going to use a lot of ERS and try and make this move here, I'm assuming.
Looks to the inside. Tucks back in there, not quite. Yeah, I think he's going to have quite a lot of. They're going to need quite a lot of overspeed there to get that done. I think they want to make a pretty definite move down into turn 1. Because they don't really want to go side by side through there, especially in the wet there. Minardi going a little bit wide, and it has allowed Ford to sail around the outside turn 4, racing up to having a little look-see, and Minardi not making it easy for him. Don't want to be going side by side through this section. You hear him lifting as they go through that. It will usually be a flat out corner. And yes, struggling under the wet conditions.
Banana Josh also looks like he's had an incident sitting way back now.
Yeah, already this track claiming a few guys with some spins, but it's good to see that all the car looks intact and he's just kept going. I'm sure they will be catching up to the back of the pack as well, as we see Ford having another yellow flag. Someone's gone around at turn 12. That's Chronic Saints. Kept it out of the wall. It was reversed across the track. A little bit of a risky maneuver there, but no contact made from that. Didn't look like he was ghosted, so yeah, it was a bit sketchy reversing across the track. And yeah, here's another one. Turn 12 has claimed, but it's very easy to put it in the wall in that corner, so that's good job on him managing to keep it out of the wall.
So 4 drivers in 4 laps. Looks like we're going to have a pretty chaotic race.
Yeah, Scotty there, showing he's got a bit of pace, sending the fastest lap over BP, who's sort of been ruling the timesheet at the moment. And yeah, Ford getting past another driver. Next driver up the road will be Ferrari Pro. Ooh, this will be a good battle to watch here. Scotty looking down the inside of Bags down into turn 4 and through the car park section has got the move done. Goes a little bit wide. Bags, whoa, looking up the inside there. Not really expecting that. I think Scotty, it's put him offline for the next corner. But yeah, a bit difficult to force your way through there. Such is the track being quite narrow around that section. I don't think that's are they going to change that corner? Have they changed that corner? I don't think that was the corner they were looking at changing in terms of the width. I know this section is all re-profiled to remove the braking zone through there and make it a more fast-flowing sector, supposedly to aid overtaking. Oh, he's gone wide as Bags through there. That's going to cost him a little bit through that section. I don't know what you guys in the chat. Let us know what you think about the track changes around the Albert Park circuit. Good? Bad? Don't know. Leave a drop in the comments. Ferrari's gone wide. That's just allowed Ford to absolutely seize the moment and left the door open for him to grab that P8. He is making a charge through this field. Hopefully Ferrari can stay on the back of him and maybe use Ford a little bit to pull him along, as Plebs sets the fastest lap, so he's not letting BP get away with Ford sort of out of the picture a little bit. That has opened it up for these other guys in the top. Ford there showing that he still has the pace there, setting the fastest lap. Yeah, Clunky Boy, I think maybe the track changes were maybe a little bit late in the game cycle. They only really confirmed the round now, and I think they're pretty much finished updating this game, and they'll be looking 100% at the next game. I think there's maybe one more update to be had here left. I was looking at the forums the other day. I think they're doing something with yeah, there was one feature there we're looking at getting changed, I believe, but we're pretty much full steam ahead for the next one at this point of the year. Yes, changing turns 1, 3, 7, 9, 11 and 13. Great changes, can't wait to see them, says TC. Is that Tri-Kid, I believe, in the chat? Tom Whiteford, extra DRS zone as well. Yeah, I believe there's a DRS zone between 10 and 11, which should hopefully keep the cars closer together and aid in overtaking. We see a little three-way battles, racing up to done what I think he did in qualifying too, a little bit too hard on that curb. Safety car has neutralized the race. Yeah, too hard on that curb on the exit of turn 12. He's gone round into the wall, something that Chronic Saints managed to avoid, but unfortunately that is our first DNF of the evening.
Yeah, very easy to do there, especially when it's full wet. But I'm sure that Banana Josh and Mighty Wombat are happy with this, as they'll be able to catch back up.
You can see there, Minardi Burger completely slowed down coming around the last corner. I think, and at the same time, both McLaren boys picking up a drive-through. Karma's gone in the pits. Was that a change in the wing I just saw on there? He won't be able to serve that drive. They won't be able to serve that drive-through under the safety car. Both McLaren boys. Oh, that's not good for them. There's probably going to be more safety cars. They would hope, so that drive-through is not going to affect their race too much. But yeah, both boys picking up there, getting caught out by that Delta, and I was about to say Minardi Burger slowing right down. And I think it's very easy to get caught out. Sometimes the Delta just suddenly goes from like a positive 2 seconds to a negative, and that's like a slam dunk penalty there. Six laps in, safety car neutralizing this race, and nobody really else choosing to come into the pits. I don't think the field is spread out enough apart from the guys at the back to warrant a pit stop this early in the race. That's going to have helped Ford and Ferrari close up the gaps that they had from starting off a bit lower there, and of course help those guys having spins early on, brings them back into play, and there's going to be some tight racing again.
Yeah, it could be a chaotic safety car restart and in the wet, but hopefully all the boys get through safely.
That's what it's supposed to do, isn't it? The safety car is supposed to release the cars in a safer manner because it's a rolling start. But maybe whether it makes it more or less safe, not really sure about that one. Should be fairly straightforward restart, I would say. Just coming around the last corner, accelerating. I don't think there's any need to, and especially into these conditions, do a Magello type restart.
Yeah, just got to be a bit concerned about that turn 1, turn 2, with it being a bit more of a bottleneck there.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't see these.
Very easy to lock up into that first chicane, going at high speed, coming out of the safety car. You know, actually, we should have actually had Ferrari Post still in the chat with us. He could have given us his little chat about how he's going after these first couple of laps. Maybe that's something we'll do in the future. Maybe keep these boys in the chat, and if there's a safety car, we can have a little chat with them in these quiet periods of the race. Something to think about as we're trialing this thing. Clunky Boy, or responding again to your, are you sure falling someone during the race and give the commentator's curse? Do you believe in the commentator's curse, Ted?
Well, I don't think there's really a curse. I just think the drivers put too much pressure on themselves.
Yeah. But us talking to them at the same time, maybe there's that for sure. But if they haven't heard us, then I don't know. Some people believe in the commentator's curse. I don't really believe in it, and you know what? We're going to go full send and ignore the commentator's curse, and what happens in this series, because we're here to provide entertainment for you guys. So that is all we'll do. Safety car in this lap 7. Only a couple of laps under the race. We've lost racing up to on the exit of turn 12. Yeah, very easy to lose it. I feel like we'll see more incidents around this, but BP currently in the lead. See how he gets this race underway. There's Aston Martin green safety car coming in. BP still taking it nice and slow, putting a little bit of energy into his tyres. Still hasn't gone yet. Gonna wait to the last minute. Off he goes, and that's a couple of cars side by side. Who's that in the background there? Zach already taking full use, and he's just caught Alex napping a little bit. Alex has got a bit deep, nudged him into the braking zone. Hopefully he hasn't made any wing damage. So hard to see these cars with all the spray. What has happened here as well? Ferrari, Bags is looking at Ferrari, but I think he's hold on to that position. Ford also, no, that's Scotty looking for a position on Alex. Alex has not had a good restart on here. He's trying to look around the outside, pushes him onto the curb a little bit. He's going to go side by side through turn 5 and just survive. Ford all over the back of Scotty now. He's pushed him offline. Oh, he's gone a little bit too deep, has Scotty into turn 6, but manages to hold on to that position through this section. But Ford is just going to look for any chance he can to get past, looking around the outside, getting up and move nice and early. Oh, he's made a bit of contact. Scotty manages to hold on, a bit of contact on that. I don't think anybody was at fault there. I think it was more of a racing incident, and that's also promoted the other guys and demoted Scotty quite a few positions down the order, but it's good to see he's kept it out of the wall through there. So we see these guys, they taken the drive. What's happened here? Chronic
yeah, both of those boys pitted to serve their drive-through penalty, but I'm unsure whether it actually got removed. Banana Josh has crashed out.
Turn 12, same place, safety car. Safety car, that's going to help out these guys, but I still think they've got that drive-through, I believe, to serve. Yeah, they've still got the drive-through to go, so that's not going to really, well, it's going to help them because they've dropped back off the pack, but not going to help them serve that drive-through. Just gives them less time to do it. Scotty in the pits, maybe, did he take a bit of damage? Let's have a look and see if there's a wing change happening on there, but the safety car picking up the pack again. Didn't get far, did we?
No, we did not. Both those McLaren boys come into the pits as the safety car was starting and to serve their drive-through. I guess you can't do that.
No, it's, yeah. I'm actually surprised you can't do that.
Yeah, me too. I figured you could come in when the safety car gets released.
Well, that will be... Luckily for them, we have another bit sideways coming round turn 1 is Chronic Saints. Luckily for them, we've got a safety car which sort of negates that failed drive-through. So they won't be doing that one again. And Scotty pretty much taking a free pit stop there. He was sitting pretty much at the back with the McLaren so far away. I guess he figured he may as well get onto some of that fresh rubber. But they only have, what, 3 wet tyres for the race?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that should be enough, but if we have too many of these safety cars and too many pit stop tyre changes, they're just going to be going back on used tyres through this race. But yes, Mercedes there, 5th and 6th. Alex Pedo making up quite a few positions. Ford having had that little incident with Scotty. Sorry, not BP, has dropped a few, but he's made a good recovery. Ferrari Pro also, good recovery after that poor qualifying for him in P7. And he's sitting behind Ford, which I think is a good place to be. He can use Ford. Ford's sort of, I think we can definitely say Ford's got a bit of a pace advantage on some of these other guys, and trying to use him to sort of get through the pack, sneak in when he makes those moves. And I'm not sure if those guys have a bit of team orders going on here with Alex and Ford in the Merc. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, so they'll want to try and, well, they'll not want to let Ferrari Pro through, for sure. Also, the Alpines, 2nd and 4th, good for them, and also Aston Martin guys in good points. But I think having lost 2 guys already 10 laps in, I think it's going to be a case of just survival in this tough track.
Yeah, for sure. That's probably what I'd be thinking at this stage if I had a couple of incidences. I'd just be like, alright, need to chill out, just try and maximise points that I can get without binning it.
Yep. Race Spec awarding points all the way down to 15th place, which means that everybody here, if they finish, will be getting points. So, well, yes, if they finish, that is the hard part. Apparently, and unsurprisingly, in these tricky, heavy rain conditions around the Albert Park circuit. Melbourne, what do they say about the city? 4 seasons in one day?
Yeah, most certainly. It'll go from nice sunny weather to pissing down rain, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, freezing cold, or it's just horrible.
And I've experienced that firsthand at the Melbourne Grand Prix a couple of years back. It was freezing cold, pretty much like this on one day, a bit of drizzle and super wind on the next day, and then day 3 qualifying, scorching hot, and you just kind of don't know what clothes you're gonna need for the day. It's just it's a bit of a nightmare, really, but it does throw these unpredictable conditions around and makes it difficult for the drivers, which makes it more exciting for us at home to watch, so I can't really complain about that particularly.
Yeah, and hopefully we do see it dry out, so a bit of strategy would come into it then.
Banana Josh in the chat, those damn curbs are slippery, plus I was trying to complete the pass on Scotty and blew it by a curb. Yeah, tricky curbs. It's tricky at the best of times, that turn 12 curb, let alone in the wet, as we see the cars come around the glass corner. I think BP's already gone. He's chosen to go a little bit earlier, and that has made the gap a lot bigger. Silverford all over the back of Plebs. Did I just see yellow flag then? No, he gets past. No, he doesn't. Tucks back in behind. No other real changes in there, so they get through cleanly. I think they're a bit more spread out this time around. Ford, there's a bit of gap. Look, already a 1 second gap open down to Ferrari. That's not going to be ideal for him. Ford on the back of Alex. We'll see if there's any team orders at Mercedes or not. It's going to be tricky to get past all these guys. Fairly similar on pace at the top here. So definitely overtaking is not easy, as we have seen on this. Well, in the dry, it's not easy at this track, let alone in the wet. Just looking for mistakes from the other drivers, putting pressure on them, waiting. Oh, he's on the grass, Ford, pushing the limits a little bit. We go on the grass in the wet, as such is a low grip, but well, yeah, as you can see, Alex there just ahead of him, struggling on the exit there, but they've already dropped Ferrari Pro by 1.2 seconds. Bags very close at the back of Ferrari, so we'll see if he's looking for a move down here through this section. Yeah, not going to be. Yeah, they've sort of separated out a little bit. Going forward, actually, getting a bit closer to the back of Alex. 3 couple of tenths behind him, and I think also, yeah, that curve's a bit of drifting happening around these curves. I think there's a certain art to driving in the wet. Some drivers are better in the wet, some hate the wet and really struggle. Scotty very close and looking for a move on Mighty Wombat. Looks like that's a terrible camera angle, thank you. Gets the move done before turn 1, gets through, and he's on his way. Minardi Bags gone onto the grass there. Minardi Berger getting through, allowing Scotty to catch up the back. I'm not sure what happened. He's on the grass again. His Bags has gone wide. He's on the grass again, and I think he's let his teammate through. I wonder if he's got a bit of, yeah, and missing end play. That's what's happened there. So I'm not sure what happened there with his damage, but that's going to cost him huge. These guys have taken their drive through. McLaren boys taking it at the same time, staying together on track. Maybe that'll help. Just pushing each other along, sticking as a pair. Ford looking for a move again on the grass around that section. These guys liking the grass a lot. And yeah, that's cost him. That was a mistake on the grass. That's Silderfort. Zach and Alex getting past Silderfort, who probably has made a mistake too. Yep, he's got a time penalty there, just cutting that corner. That's probably going to allow Ford to get right up on the back of him. Not going to be quite close. He's going to look for a move down into turn 13.
Yeah, both Plebs and BPV8 having a good safety car restart there with a solid 3-second gap to the next car.
Nice angle there from Ford, gets around the outside. Yep, Silderfort, BP, Plebs there. Look at that. They're sort of pulling away, aren't they, of Zach? It doesn't seem to be able to challenge those two in front. And that's usually what happens with Ford, you know, he pulls away at the front whilst the other guys are fighting, but he's not able to do that at this current stage, stuck in this traffic. I do like that camera angle coming around the last couple of corners through there. I myself sit around that area when I attend this, that's Bags in the pits there, changing that front wing around after his damage. I sit around the last couple of corners there. Well, partly because a little bit cheaper grandstands, and also being in the slowest corner on the track, it's a really great place to watch those cars come around and peel off in the pits and around the fronts, around the pit straight too. Are you going this year, Tim?
Yes, I will be attending. It will be my first Grand Prix in person, so I'm very keen.
What about you guys in the chat? Anybody attend the Grand Prix? Where do you sit? Where do you like to sit? And where's your favourite spot around this track? FYI, they are. If you haven't got your tickets yet, I know that all the grandstands are sold out. There's only general admission left, but they had just announced they're releasing, I think, on the 10th of February, I think, or the 8th. Maybe you can correct me.
The 8th.
The 8th. Releasing 5 new grandstands, 5 new, never seen before grandstands, new places to watch around this track. No idea what the prices are, but I will. Wow, bit of overstay coming around the last corner for Ford. Gets I think there. Alex moving right around the edge of the track to defend, but it kind of looked a bit easy for Ford. I just wonder if he maybe let him past a little bit there, or he was just trying to defend. But anyway, Ford there getting the move done. And now he'll want to try and track down those front runners. That'll be his target, and try and retake that pole position that he lost from the start. I'm sure those tickets will sell out pretty much instantly. If you want those tickets, you better be on the money straight away when because I think they have released the times they're getting released. You want to be refreshing that page, hitting that refresh button, and grab those tickets ASAP if you want a spot. Scotty pulling up to the back of Bernardi. Not be quite close enough yet, but we'll keep an eye on him at the moment. And Ferrari Pro, they're settling in behind Silverford, not quite managing to match the pace of those guys further ahead. Scotty on looking, yep, there gets moved on Bernardi already, and he's up into P8, and he'll be looking to chase down Ferrari. I don't think, yeah, Ferrari seems to be struggling a little bit on the pace.
Yeah, his pace does seem to have dropped off a little. Maybe he might have a little end plate wing damage or something, and decided to run it to the end and not pit, but not too sure.
Yeah, car looks okay. I would hazard a guess that a 9.6 just seems a little bit low on the downforce side for the wet. He might be struggling a little bit with the grip for there with the fastest lap, and he's got onto the back of Zach's very quickly. 210s. Zeno look for a move down here using the battery. Zach looking to defend on the inside. Ford wants that inside line, but Zach is not giving that to him, and there's not really much way to get past there, holding the inside line. Good racing from him, looking for a move around the outside through the car park section at turn 4. Lovely switch back there from Ford. I was not expecting that, and gets him. Wow, that was a great move from him there.
Yeah, that was a beautiful move there.
Definitely, well, it caught me unawares, and I think it caught Zach a little bit unawares, not expecting for a switch back in that section around the outside, especially in the wet. And he is now free to chase down the front runners. And oh, what? That was Silverfort. I saw that just for a second as Ferrari drove past him. He's gone a bit of an odd place to go around there on the straight. So, but yeah, looks as he kept it out of the wall. Damage check for Silverfort looking okay. So that's good. He's kept going along here. That's good to see. Out of the wall, and we've still got those 30 cars running. TC, turn 11-12 on the hill with the crowd is insane. I'll be there. That's, yeah, I stood up there, and it is a great place to see those new one of those new grandstands is going to be around that section, I believe, also. But, yeah, the atmosphere and the general admission of the crowd, especially in the last couple of years when we had such a large crowd, it's been, yeah, it's just electric. There's nothing like going to see it live. And for those that haven't seen it live, I definitely advise doing that. Maybe in 2023 I might clunky boy. 2022, new cars. It'll be exciting. No one knows what's going to happen. You know you want to grab a ticket and come along. Yeah. It's just a shame it's not the first race of the season. That's my only minor complaint.
Yeah, upset that Australia lost that first race of the season.
Bit of oversteer there from Ferrari, struggling with a bit, getting the power down. Again, maybe inherent of that 9.6 that he chose to go for. He's picked up a penalty as well. Not ideal, not too many with penalties so far, so they're doing a good job keeping it within track limits. It is a bit of a tricky track for track limits, wouldn't you say, around that turn 11-12 section. It's so easy just to go a tiny bit wide or cut that corner.
Yeah, most certainly. It will be interesting to see if we get all 58 laps. As of the moment, we are only at lap 16, so very slow race at the moment.
Yeah, there is a time limit, I believe.
A 2-hour time.
Yeah, and I missed out on the Endurance Singapore last year, and that was in the wet as well. I think it was the longest race spec race ever in history. So that would have been absolutely brutal, Singapore being one of the longer tracks. Add the wet to that, and yeah, you got a bit of a combination of pure pain right there. Ford there. TC, he is quick. Ford, and yeah, proving that he's quick there with another fastest lap. Just bringing that gap down to the top couple of guys. Scotty gets past Ferrari around a couple of corners, but Ferrari's not going to give in. He is looking down the outside. They're going to go side by side into turn 3. Scotty's got the inside. Can Ferrari hang on? Yes, yes. Is Scotty going to make it around the outside through the car park? Yeah, that's going to leave him on the outside, and you don't want to be around the outside through there. But he's held on, and Minardi's in the back of this, and yes, he's got past. What an incredible bit of racing there. Just managed it. He just did not want to give up that position, the tenacity, and he held on to that, keeping in front there. But it's allowed a third party into this little battle of Minardi, and that's going to add an extra factor here. They've got to think about Scotty's probably a bit of pressure from behind too.
Yeah, some awesome racing there from Scotty and Pro, but I'm sure Scotty won't be happy with losing that position. I'm sure he'll try and make a move back.
Yeah, he's in the championship fight, is Scotty, so it is probably not ideal where he would like to be, as he's already made the move down into turn 13, gets past Ferrari, trying to hang on the outside, not giving up that position, fighting with every little bit. I think he knows he's on camera too, so he wants to put on a show, but he's gone a bit deep through that section. That's allowed Minardi, who's gone deep into the last corner. Has he chewed off a little bit too much there? This is going to be difficult around the outside. Gives him space, does Minardi. Great clean racing from these guys. It's going to be a drag race down to turn 1. Those guys using all their energy, and I think that 9.6 helping Ferrari with a bit of straight line speed, and has kept the position from Minardi, but some great moves down here. Unfortunately, Ferrari all over the shop trying to get traction. That's lost him. Silverfort is now in this battle. Not quite close enough to challenge, but for Ferrari, they're dropping back a little bit through here. In the wars, he is.
Yeah, Ferrari Pro all of a sudden kind of looks like his pace may have dropped a little. Wondering whether that little touch with Scotty might cause damage.
Maybe, and yeah, he's just yeah, it definitely looked like with that setup, you know, he that drag race, pure drag race, he had the upper hand, but then in the corners just struggling to get the traction down a little bit, and using all the track there still to fall on those curbs, not scared of them at all, he seems to be. And this battle is certainly not over yet. These guys half a second gap through here, taking as much curb as possible, getting a good exit through there. See a bit of a wiggle from Minardi just up ahead. It's going to allow Ferrari just to capitalize on that. These guys going to be closer to this section now. Difficult to overtake, but yeah, great side-by-side racing through this. What's that? Chronic Saints has gone. No, he's still going, but a yellow flag there coming around the sector 2.
Yeah, Ford has closed in that gap to Plebs a lot as well. Only 1.8 seconds now, and BBVA also created a gap to Plebs. So
maybe struggling a little bit with tyre wear, coming in closer to that halfway point, then maybe the tyres are starting to degrade a tiny bit. Ferrari not able to keep up with Minardi. Silverfort looking for a move, tucks back in, not quite close enough.
I also think Ford is just too quick. He set another fastest lap just that last lap. He is flying at the moment.
Yeah, who's going to challenge Ford? Sector 3, yellow flag, Chronix. That kind of looks like it's in the pit lane from the track map. Has he retired in the pit lane, or did he? Looks like a bit of an odd place to go around if he has gone on the straight. I can't see. It's a shame it doesn't let us see, like, click onto the camera of the car after they have had their incident, because it's a bit hard to tell what is. I think he retired in the pit lane. He's had a rough day as Chronix. The drive-through penalties, not being able to take them, the spins, and then Silverfort on the inside of Ferrari. Lock-up. They touch a little bit of a lock-up there. Silverfort not wanting to give the position. Gets a run down the inside, all over that curb. Ferrari again trying to hang around the outside, not quite managing to do so. And that gives Silverfort P8 and Ferrari P9. Mighty Wombat is only a second behind this group, and I'm sure he'll be looking to capitalize on this little fight happening here. A lot of the cars spread out on track, so we're relishing any track action that we have. And Ford, less than a second now behind Plebs, so we'll be switching to that battle in a second. And we'll just see if Ferrari can respond to Silverfort's move. at all, but he seems to be just slowly dropping back off the back of Silverfoot. Yeah, look at him struggling around that section there, I think.
Yeah. We've had a lot of laps under normal racing, so not really any safety cars for a while, which is good to see.
Yeah, I was just watching the revs and the lower gears, just using around that, what is usually quite, he's just missed that apex there. I think he is starting to definitely struggle on these tyres, but we're going to go and check out these two races at the front here. Our current championship leader Ford against Plebs, and he's caught Plebs at a rate. I wonder how hard Plebs will fight this. Hopefully a lot for our sakes. Hopefully there'll be a good scrap here. But yeah, I'm sure Plebs will be watching that delta just decreasing every single lap, and kind of maybe thinking to himself, has he got the pace to fight this? And it should be quite easy to defend. They've still got just about similar energy levels running through here. But BP having that commanding lead at the moment with a 2-second gap holding out the front. And I'm sure that BP is well aware of Ford there, and he'll be saying to himself, Plebs, you better hold him up, you better have a good battle with him, because if he gets past Plebs easily, he'll be chasing down BP in the lead, no doubt. So he caught up fairly quickly to the back, sort of is a little bit stuck at the moment by the looks of it, behind Plebs. Let's see how he goes down the exit through here. Gets a good run. Tucks into the slipstream. Plebs defending the inside is definitely not going to want to give that inside lineup. Force Ford round the long way. Ford takes plenty, and I think maybe Plebs gave him a little bit too much space, because Ford has made it through quite easily through there. That's a bit of a surprise. Yeah, Ford just taking that. Well, what's up, June? How you doing? Yeah, I think we were robbed of a good battle there.
Yeah, most certainly. Plebs just leaving a little too much space, and Ford being like, thank you very much, I'll take that.
Yeah, he almost squeezed Plebs on the exit of that, because, you know, didn't even use all the exit, he just squeezed him on the inside and just really ruined Plebs' run out of that section, and yeah, easy done. Maybe it wasn't easy in the cockpit, but it sure looked easy from the camera. Marty Wombat is the next person on the back of Ferrari, who really, I think, is struggling at the moment with pace-wise. The next guy to challenge for that P9 position that Ferrari's holding on to. You'd imagine they'd be thinking about coming in for pit stops around about in a few laps time, 5 laps maybe, something like that, halfway. I presume they'd be targeting a 1-stop over a 2-stopper. Wet tyre. Let's have a quick look at the penalty situation currently. Everybody on 3 seconds, apart from Bags, who's running up our order in P12, and he is on the 9 seconds currently. So they've kept it pretty clean so far in this race.
Yeah, very well done keeping it clean, especially in the wet. Generally, I would find that I'd just slide extra wide and then just bang, pick up penalties like that.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of a lull in the action on track. What I'll do is I'll bring up the track map quickly for you guys. Let's take that off there. Just have a quick squeeze at the track there. Next track we've got Imola, Spain, Monaco and Azerbaijan. Let's just talk about that a little bit. Imola, that's pretty tough track, but I think it provides some great racing. Spain, bit of Vegemite there. You either love it or you hate it. And Monaco and Azerbaijan, tough city, street, narrow circuits. I think this will be the first time that we'll have had Monaco on the endurance calendar, and wow, I think that's going to be tough for these guys.
Yeah, certainly will. Hopefully they have no rain for that race as well.
Oh, that'd be real pain right there. That's a double dose of pain for these guys. Silverfort on the back of Minardi at the moment, looking for a move through the second sector. But yeah, I wonder who decided on that calendar there, thought that, you know what, we'll throw in some Monaco and really challenge these guys.
Maybe they just thought it was a bit easy last season. Not enough time, and so let's make it a bit trickier.
Too many. Oh, there's Silverfort picking up a penalty. He's gone wide. Minardi has, and that's just allowed Silverfort straight through and into P7. I think Minardi's going to try and look at challenge there forward, setting another fastest lap. But that gap seems to be fairly constant between him and BP. Minardi going a little bit wide around this last couple of sector. Bit of understeer through here for him, and yes, Silverfort seems to have pulled away enough of a gap. Another close battle here between Mighty Wombat and Ferrari Pro. Just that gap sort of sitting around the just sub 1 seconds. Mighty Wombat, plenty of energy there. So here's a good chance for him to try and go for the overtake. Half a second down that gap, and probably the closest he's been for a while now. Sensing an overtake maybe is the Wombat. Is he a cousin of Combat Wombat? Maybe. Those two guys, similar names. But yeah, sorry, going back to tracks throughout the season. Imola, you enjoy Imola?
Don't love it, don't hate it really. It's an alright track. A couple of the corners are pretty annoying, but every track's got a couple like that.
Yeah, it's that dip at Aqua Mineralis. That section is super tricky. So easy to lose the rear end going around there. Some of those curbs are lethal as well. Yeah, big curbs. And I don't know what you guys think about Spain either. I personally really enjoy Spain as forward, setting another fastest lap. He started to shave down that gap down to P1. Yeah, do you like Spain?
I'm not a fan of Spain. It's probably my second least favourite.
Ferrari, sorry to interrupt there, all over the shop there with the rear end, really losing it. It's allowed Mighty Wombat to get through pretty easily, but wow, they almost lost that there. I would have been chopping at the steering wheel, so good job on him to managing to hold on there. The game changer at front, BP picking up a penalty. Minardi, first one to jump, it's all happening suddenly, into the pits for he's got a wing change too. So he's obviously picked up some damage at some point. Maybe that's why he's just struggling a little bit. I saw a bit of that understeer there through those corners. So yes, Minardi choosing to pit a little bit early compared to the rest of the field, get rid of that wing damage, bit of clean air, and pump in some lap times and fresh air. Can Ferrari hold on to the back of Mighty Wombat? And other latest news is that penalty for BP at the front there. That's that could really mess up his chances of the P1 there, considering how close the pack is, and Plebs will be able to see that too on his timing board, and that'll encourage him to close the gap down also.
Yeah, definitely don't want to pick up a penalty around here, especially in the wet, because a late safety car could just ruin your chances.
Indeed, and that is a common feature we see around this endurance, late safety cars. Fatigue creeping in. It's a long time, this endurance race, 1.5 hours roughly. This one will be even longer, and we'll probably see more and more mistakes as the race goes on throughout this lap. So it's just important to keep the concentration levels up, make sure they've got the drink handy. There's no Alfa Romeos, so probably nothing to go wrong with the drink. And I mean, I guess they just open up the helmet and suck in a bit of that rainwater, and that's your drink right there. Yeah, Ferrari Pro again, just dropped off the back of Mighty Wombat. You can see just not quite having the pace in the wet at the moment. And Ford at the front has managed to close that gap down to a sub 1 second. He has also picked up a time penalty for cutting that tricky 11-12 section. And that'll be a godsend for BP, because now they're on an equal playing field, and Plebs, who I don't think has picked up any penalties at all so far throughout this season, is in for a good chance here now if he can close that gap down a little bit.
Yeah, the race is back on between these two boys.
That's what we like to see. Yeah, down to Ford again, setting the fastest lap, just chipping away that fastest lap time in the 36s. A little bit squirrely on the exit there, so we'll just have, and on the curb as well. He's really pushing, and he's also been draining his battery, so he's on a charge as Ford, whereas I think BP is just he's out in front, he's not too stressed out, especially with that penalty by Ford. Been saving his battery. A little bit of on the exit, you can see just ahead there, BP on the curb. So yeah, Ford on the limit. You can definitely see in his driving style, his driving behaviour, all over the curves, pushing hard. And just to mention also the back, there's a pack here, P8, P9, P10, all within a second of each other, so we'll keep half an eye on those guys. The pack's separated out a little bit. On track battles also is Minardi and Bags, a couple of seconds off each other. Also Alex and Zach, a couple of seconds off each other, but the main battle at the moment for P1 and P8. Yes, going back to Spain, that's what we're talking about, Spain. Yes, you're not really a fan?
No, not at all. Just, I've never really had any good results there. Super easy circuit for me to spin at, don't know why, I just don't agree with it.
I think that's a little bit of difference between you and me there. You're preferring a bit more of the street, lower grips, well, I believe they're lower grips on the street circuits, and I prefer those circuits, the real, the permanent tracks over the street circuits. So we've got a bit of a differing preference there on those ones. So you must enjoy Australia then too.
Yeah, I do not mind Australia at the end of the day. Kind of just like the whole street circuit vibe.
Yeah.
Wish the corners were a bit better and everything, because keen to see the new track layout. Hopefully it will be good and maybe might become one of my more favourite tracks.
There's a drag race happening down here, down the straight, of these two guys in front. Ferrari takes the inside, and Wombat there relinquishing that a little bit. He sort of broke a little bit early, allowed Ferrari to hold on to that position. And a bit of change. Karma goes for a late move on an unsuspecting Mighty Wombat. You know what they say, if as the old Senna quote is, if you no longer go for that move, you're no longer a racing driver. And he saw the door, it was open, and he took that. And Mighty Wombat losing 2 spaces there, down into P10. Things have changed around a little bit at the bottom. But well done on Karma there. Good, excellently held on the brakes. Just opportunistic move. As I just switch back and have a look at this gap, it's still saying around the just over half a second, between half a second and a second. And I think, yeah, Ford not quite having it as easy as he had earlier. Has managed to catch up to the back of BP, but it sort of seems to be stuck behind him at this current moment. And the gaps between P8, P9 and P10 with Ferrari, Karma and Mighty Wombat have opened up after that little skirmish they had there. I dare say it's not over between these guys. Bags there picking up a penalty, and Karma, Ferrari must have made a mistake. As you see, Ferrari, again, that rear end all over the shop. Karma looking, Ferrari not defending on the inside, choosing the outside line. It's allowed Karma to take that inside line. Can he hold it? Yes, he does. Nice and clean through there. Important to hold on to that position. Can Ferrari make an attempt down here? Karma holding the inside line. Not going to make it easy for Ferrari. Yeah, and he's holding on to that position. And as we see the P8, P9, P10 sort of move around again, Marty Wombat has not been able to catch up in this little skirmish. They didn't really lose too much time. And that's Karma in the McLaren in P8, now having taken that spot. Ferrari's not giving up though. He seems to be intent on retaking this position. He's pushing, you can see that, pushing hard and right on the edge of the limits of grip, especially with that lower downforce rear wing, and he's saved his battery up a little bit there too. So he's definitely going to be looking at trying to retake that position through here. It's so hard to see those curbs in the wet. Half a second gap. Can he make a... I forgot to turn off my notification settings. That's annoying. Go away. Thank you. No, he's not quite... Yeah, he seems to struggle a little bit in this last sector. I've noticed that. And that's really a downforce key sector, and yeah, Karma there pulling away, and in turn Mighty Wombat closing the gap. That seems to be the Achilles heel of the Ferrari at the moment, that last sector there, inherent with that lower downforce setup. Goes a little bit wide through turn 1, and Mighty Wombat's just allowed him to pull the gap down there on that. But again, these two boys at the front seem to be evenly matched at this current time.
Yeah, that gap just not coming down.
But what it is going up is the gap between Plevs and Ford. It's been steadily increasing. He's just not able to keep up with these guys at the front. They must be pushing each other along. Ford applying the pressure to BP. BP not really cracking under the pressure. Holding that Ferrari has gone into the wall there. A little bit of oversteer. Goes sideways and into the wall just before turn 6 or around that turn 5 area. I don't think I think he might have escaped damage there. It looked like it was a bit of tyre contact, tyre wall contact with the wall rather than wing. So that, again, as we saw, yeah, his wing looks intact, the barge boards look intact too. And Sector 2, Minardi has gone round. Oh, he backed into that wall pretty hard. Hopefully he hasn't taken any... Oh, that front wing. Bags looked like he drove over the front wing. Bits of car lying on the road. Oh, that's not good for Minardi. He's going to struggle to get around here. Very careful around here with this lack of downforce and lack of grip from that front wheel. You can see, look at the understeer. He's turned the wheel all the way and the car just did not turn in to that corner. Be careful around here, Minardi, in this section here. Don't want to be going off. And he's also in danger of being lapped by the front runners. They're only a couple of seconds down the road behind him. He's so close to the wall again. He's gone a little bit too hard into the gravel. Minardi. Oh, and that's wow, that's a bit of over exaggeration into the wall there. Bit of lovely. Oh, he's just fallen over there. Bit of lovely physics. Thank you, Cody. Oh, his car's still bouncing around. A lot of energy in that car. Can we get an off-board shot of this? Sorry, we're not laughing at you, Minardi. That's just a bit of an odd. Watch out, the yellow flag around here. Car still upside down, stricken on the exit of turn 14, and it's been cleared away. An unfortunate way to go for Minardi. Lap 32, and we have our 4th retirement in this race.
Yeah, it seemed to be a very slow incident into that wall. And then the game physics freaked out and just decided he's done.
He's not going to enjoy watching that one back for sure there. Yeah, and I was saying, be a little bit careful with that lack of downforce, lack of front wing. You'll have no grip, but I think he just tried to take a little bit too much speed coming through that last section. Touched the wall, locked up. What's this yellow flag? Is that Ferrari? Is that Ferrari ahead with the yellow flag? Has he had an off too? What's happening here? People dropping a little bit here, dropping concentration. Did I see a bit of wing damage there? No, it looks intact to me. So he kept it out of the wall. Yeah, over halfway through. Oh no! He's gone round and he's out. Ferrari Pro in the wall, turn 12 again. Oh no, that is not the way he's gonna want his weekend to end. Oh dear. And those of you who told me my commentator's curse, I refuse to believe that. I think that was just an unfortunate virtual safety car. You know what I might do? Yeah, oh, that's a shame. Real shame for him.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
Oh, that's BP in the pits. You see that? Virtual safety car taking advantage of the virtual in the pit lane there. Has this been a 100 IQ move from BP?
Just before Ferrari did crash out, he had pitted, so he was probably one of the first to pit without damage.
I see. So he maybe the tyres, those fresh tyres, maybe not up to temperature, maybe caught him out there. Plev's also choosing to make use of this virtual safety car. Alex also, is this a mistake from Ford? Should he have come in under this virtual safety car? And away they go, so the Plevs and Alex not quite managing to make full use, but BP and Zach, that was a super move from them. That's cost Plevs, hasn't it, there? Because he's now dropped down to P5. Wait, hold on, Zach did pit, didn't he? No, he didn't pit. No, he didn't. So, my fault there, my mistake. Oh, Ferrari in the chat, the one race where I find myself on the street. See, there's a bit of that added pressure, unfortunately, isn't it? We were talking about earlier. But wow, BP's right up against the wall there. And you know what? I think he's pushing hard now. A bit of an undercut he's looking for. And we'll keep an eye on this battle.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how dead his tyres are now for Ford's. See, hopefully he gets another safety car and compete under that.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a blinder from BP there. Quick thinking, pitting under the virtual. You know, it was about time. Oh no, he's picked up a penalty. That's not ideal. He doesn't need to be doing that at this stage. How you doing, Buster? We haven't seen you for a while in the chat. How are you going? A wet one, indeedy. You just tuned into a downpour. I don't know when you just tuned in, if you caught absolute carnage just before then. We're just losing a couple of drivers in quick succession. Some crazy pit stop action on the virtual safety car. BP and Plevs potentially pulling off a great strategy maneuver here. And yeah, we'll see how this plays out with Ferrari. We did comment on that with the 9.6 wings. Maybe that was a little bit too aggressive on the wings there under a wet race. Yeah, we actually caught that as well. We caught that on the stream, unfortunately for you. Maybe actually, you know what, Ferrari? Maybe we'll grab you back in the comm box just to give you a little bit while the race is in this current stage. I might give you, if you get ready, we'll bring you back into the comm box and you can tell us all about it at this current stage. So just bear with us for a second there. If I'll just give the reins to Tent whilst I set this up.
Yep. So Ford, 15-second gap. I believe it's a 20-second pit stop. So BP in that pit stop range, which is not good for Ford. G-Force Zach also probably trying to close that gap. Not a lot of battles going on at the moment, except for Flev starting to catch Scotty, and Ford setting another fastest lap on those worn wets.
Yeah,
and
yeah, Plev's there. He's on that fresher tyre, making use of that. But Ford also fighting back. His tyres maybe not as worn as we first thought there. Alrighty, so Ferrari Pro is, we're going to jump in with Ferrari Pro back in the comm box with us. And just to give us a account of how he went along and what happened there. Ferrari, what happened?
Just running aggressive wings, and then slightest mistake put me in the wall. with rear wing damage, and then got too much on the curb at the turn 11 and 12 part on the track.
Yeah, we saw quite a few drivers, well, already in qualifying and in the race, racing up to being one of them, going around in that same spot. The curbs being really, really tricky around here.
Yeah, they were a nightmare out there today, especially with low wings in the rain and that, and can't see them with the puddles and that.
Yeah, tricky conditions, and we did see you seem to have good straight line pace, winning out in your drag races and such with a few of the other drivers, but in the corners just maybe a little bit, just not quite enough downforce.
Yeah, it's always that annoying feeling where you feel like you think you got it right, but then it just doesn't work at the end of the day.
Indeed,
I really thought my setup could work with my favour, but didn't turn out to.
That's how racing goes sometimes. Unfortunately, you win some, you lose some, and you learn from those mistakes and improve on them. That is the way forward. And who do you rate for today? We've just seen a bit of a blinder strategy from BP there, boxing under the virtual safety car. G-Force Ford still holding the lead. Who do you tip for the win today?
Ford. I reckon.
Ford still?
BP could come back though, so don't underline, but I reckon Ford.
Well, BP's looking pretty strong as we see Alex making a move on Silderfort. He's overcooked that onto the grass. That's a little mistake there from Alex. He'll look to be seizing that up again. Yeah, but BP's undercut currently seems to be working an absolute dream. He's saved a lot of time on that virtual safety car pitting, and he's actually gaining on Ford at the minute. So it'll be interesting how it plays out, but I'm tipping BP at the moment. He managed to keep Ford behind him in the first stint, so I think he does have quite a bit of pace in him, just BP. But yeah, it's a shame to see you go, laddie. Unfortunately, on to the next race, Imola. Looking forward to that, are you?
Yep. Yeah, I like it. As long as it's in the dry, and if I have a good wet setup, I'll be happy. But I'm not doing that again, type of setup like that in the rain.
Yeah, top tip maybe. Always maybe do a couple of laps before the race under a wet setup in wet conditions, just to get your eye in there. That's what I tend to do, and it just gives you a little bit of that, just so you're ready, just in case it rains.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us a bit of insight there on what happened, and good luck next week.
Alright, catch you later, boys.
Catch you later.
Catch ya.
So yeah, we see a couple of moves there, half paying attention. Pleb's currently really pressuring Scotty. And Alex right all the back on Silderfort. Scotty there picking a penalty, which leaves 10 drivers, and Pleb's the only one without penalty so far. Alex, yeah, he's going to look for take two, isn't Silderfort picking up a penalty there. Yeah, he didn't quite pull off that first move there, just going a little bit deep into turn 3 onto the grass, but he's looking strong as Alex, and I believe he pitted, did he not? Alex has, yep. What's that? Three drivers left who did not use the virtual safety car to pit. Silder, Zach, and Ford still hanging out there. I wonder if they're looking for a safety car. Alex picking a penalty there. Whoa, a bit strong. Oh no! It's caught! Oh! I saw that unfolding there. Silderfort, I don't think he wiggled on purpose. I think maybe he struggled with attraction. It caught Alex out. He wasn't sure which way Silder was going and didn't commit to which way, and yeah, into the back, round, and into the wall. Exit turn-tail catching someone out again there.
Yeah, another incident.
I think Alex is going to be a little bit annoyed at that one. He might try and, claim that Silder was doing some kind of wiggling on purpose. Maybe he was, but I don't think so. I think he was just struggling with traction maybe there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would have just probably been a bit of traction. Lost the rear end a little, tried to catch it, and then, yeah, Alex coming through for an overtake because he got a good run, and, yeah, just got in the way and then kind of sent into the wall.
Yeah, whilst that happened, Plebs got past Scotty, which not surprising current with the tyre difference. But yeah, I saw that. I thought, oh, which way is he going to go? Which way is he going to go? And then it just suddenly ran out of time, and he went, yeah, straight into the back. Just didn't commit. Neither driver there committing really to taking. Well, I think Silver committed to that middle line, but just yeah, didn't quite have enough time. Tricky wet conditions. Don't want to make any sudden moves, and even at high speeds. And yeah, that's Alex gone around. And yeah, really unfortunate way to go for him there. Yeah, 9 drivers left in this, and that's what we said at the start, didn't we? It was going to be a battle of who can just keep it clean and keep it together and keep it in the race is going to pick up points today.
Yeah, especially for drivers, certainly like the Gizzard, Mighty Wombat and Karma, who haven't had a good race. They've been at the back of the grid most of the time, but they've kept it clean. They're still on the track, and they're going to pick up some good points.
Yeah, once again, the Aston Martin boys, they're always there, aren't they? The two of them, always in a decent position, decent spot to pick up those points. And like we said before, that consistency is what you need in this kind of a race. And if they keep that up through the season, I think they'll be in a very good, strong chance for the constructors. Even against the likes of Ford, who has that outright pace, but if you've got 2 strong drivers there and delivering week after week, that's exactly what you need. And Aston Martin and Alpine, the only 2 teams to have 2 cars in the points today. Also, taking a note of BP, who is closing that gap down slowly on Ford, which you would expect because he's on the fresher tyre. But you know what it also tells me? That tells me that as he sets the fastest lap of the race, I think BP has the pace to challenge Ford today.
I think he does too. I do believe he has an extra 3 seconds atop Ford.
Let's double check on that. He does.
So that could play a bit of a role, unfortunately. But still, got about an hour left still. I'm assuming we won't reach the 2-hour cap, but a long way left.
That was yellow flag because I believe Ford was lapping one of the Aston Martins, so nothing to stress about there. Yes, the penalty will probably come into effect, but I think from the pit stop there's just enough of a gap. I feel like that was probably a warning there, taking liberties on the track limits again, BP. So he just needs to maybe... You can see he's pushing a lot. There was quite a few... Again, another lockup. He's pushing hard at the moment. I think you're really trying to just pull that gap down at the minute. And he's taken a huge chunk out of Ford this lap. Probably partly because Ford has had to lap a few of the cars. Both of the Aston Martins, which BP will have to do this lap. But also, BP is on a fly. I'm sure he's going to set him the fastest lap this lap. Yep, there you go, 35.1, and Ford was lapping around the 36s before, so yeah, there's a big difference in there. What do you think is going on in Ford's mind with the strategy at the moment?
Well, at the moment I'm starting to think, is he going to be able to take these tyres to the end? Is he just going to stick it out? I don't know how worn they are, but
well,
if he manages it, it's going to be crazy.
Well, you don't have to stop, do you?
No, you don't have to stop when it's wet.
Exactly, but 40 lap old wet tyres. Really?
Yeah.
I'd love to know how worn they are.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why BP has started putting on the pressure. Maybe he has had that same thought. He thought, whoa, well maybe Ford's not stopping, and he's going to have to pass him on track. Potentially, yeah. That's maybe that's what is going on in Ford's mind. He's like 10 just over 10 seconds, over 10 laps left. can BP keep this pace up? Plus BP is at a penalty disadvantage. So yeah, and plus if we have a safety car, Ford is still in the clear. Maybe I think that is why BP has got the hustle on. You can see him locking up all the time. I think he's put the hustle on.
Yeah. Would be interesting to see what Ferrari Pro reckons with the tyre wear and everything, because he did pit.
Yeah. I think I would almost say he was in a slightly different kettle of fish there, just because of that setup choice that he made was probably more inherent. He was going to struggle with more of tyre degradation. He needed those fresh tyres, potentially.
Yeah.
That would be my theory on that one. And Plev's kind of in a sort of similar situation with Zach, as Zach has not pitted either. Plev's 12 seconds off Zach, not really catching him as much as, say, BP has been catching Ford. So, I would say that potentially Zach is also looking at the same strategy then, with 16 laps left to go. Yeah, maybe those boys are thinking along the same line. Silderfort also in that same bag, having not pitted yet. Scotty and Karma pitted previously in a safety car, but that is definitely not what BP is wanting to do. They're picking up another penalty, 9 seconds. That's now into costly territory for him.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially, again, a late safety car. We've seen it at multiple times in endurance. Is it going to happen again?
Yeah, that'll be an absolute disaster for BP if that happens. And for Plevs, that will be perfect, because he will catch up. He's got no penalties. He's in a very strong situation. Once again, Plevs showing he's quick, he's consistent, and he just somehow manages to keep it clean, doesn't he, compared to the other drivers? Not had a penalty. I think I've only seen him have a penalty once in a race. Will it dry up, Buster, you ask? According to the drivers, it was wet all the way through, so I don't think we're expecting it to dry up, if Jeffrey is any man to trust. But he's betrayed us in the past, as Jeffrey, so you never know with a forecast accuracy set to well, not to perfection. So anything could happen, but I think we're very likely going to stay with wet. Who's coming up to lap there? Aston Martin there. That's Scotty in P5 looking at the Aston Martin. So look, I know it's a bit demoralising that being that far off being lapped, but Bagsy is in P9, and that is some good points there. So we don't like to see people retiring in the pits. It's not, even if you're quite a ways off the back of the grid, it's not really. We like to. Ooh, that's Ford responding with the fastest lap. That's a bit out of nowhere. So he's still got a bit of pace in those tyres, does Ford. Just making a point.
A bit baffled by that, how he can get such pace out of, I'm assuming, what would be such worn tyres, but yeah.
I mean, the fuel's starting to drop off now, obviously, so that'll... Wow, did you see that drift from Bagsy round the corner? He's still going! Oh, he just holds onto that, struggling. That was some great action there from the Aston Martin. A bit of showing us a bit of drifting around the last couple of corners. But Ford with the fastest lap there. He's used up quite a lot of energy, so maybe he's just sending a message to BP. I've got a bit of pace. I'm probably not going to come in, so you're going to have to do something serious, something really set some serious lap times in if you want to come and challenge for the win here today.
Yeah, if I was in BP's position personally, I'd be looking at it and being like, I've got 9 seconds worth of penalties. I think I just need to play it chill, take the second place. But who knows, he might really push it here, and hopefully he doesn't end up winning it while pushing.
Yeah. at what point do you sort of admit defeat and say, I need to focus on my second position rather than go for the win? Because the last thing we want to be doing at this stage of the race is just over pushing too hard in the wall, and then you've lost everything. As we say that, BP setting the fastest lap. These two boys trading fastest laps in the front. He's all over the curbs there, so you know he's confident with the setup, confident in the wet. It's just a shame those penalties are going to probably... He's locking up though a lot, so he's I think he knows. You know, he's got to try. He's got to push and see what he can do. Ford not immune to penalties though. We saw him sort of crack a little bit last week, picking up some penalties too. So there's still, you know, over 10 laps to go. Still a good chance of even Ford picking up penalties. So he's got to keep it clean too, whilst keeping that gap. But as the lap counter ticks down, it just gets closer and closer to sort of an assured. Whoa! Whoa! Plebs, a penalty? What? That's something you don't see every day, and that's everybody with a penalty now. That's, I think that's pretty much the first time we've had that. So that negates pretty much those 3-second penalties from everybody. So that's good for, well, it removes Pleb's advantage over the rest of the field, and that's good for everybody else on the 3-second. And BP would no doubt be hoping, yeah, he's just, look, he's fighting back. Ford may have set that fastest lap to show that he can still do it, but BP's still powering on, still sending in those purples.
Yeah, only 3/10, I believe, that lap that gap came down, so not coming down at a fast enough rate, unfortunately.
Yeah. But it's definitely, and he is pulling away from Zach as well. Zach not being able to respond to the pace of BP, so I guess at this point he's going for the send and trying to just pull that gap down, because you never know, anything can happen. And he's still in this race. Bagsy picking up another penalty there, putting up his tally up to 18 seconds. Not going to make a difference for him where he... Oh no, that's another 3 seconds. He needs to be really careful now, because if he picks up too many of these... I know he's pulled the gap to Zach, but, you know, one too many and you could be looking at a demotion down to P3.
Especially if we have that late safety car again. He's going to drop right through that field.
There'll be more than dropping down to P3 if that happens. So yeah, that's, I think, makes a big difference with these drivers, being able to keep it clean. It can make such a difference, and it's definitely a skill to have in these races, is just keeping it clean and keeping it penalty free, especially, you know, like we have with these late safety cars. Yeah, he's still pushing the track limits there, still all over the curbs, definitely not looking at letting up his pace. So not sure, again, locking up through this section. I'm not sure what he's trying to achieve now, because he's sort of sabotaging his push a little bit at the moment. And all the while Ford will be looking at that penalty timer go up, because that was a good change I think Cody's made to the game, allowing other people to see the penalties. Because for a long time we didn't have that. When did that come in?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I could probably Google it.
Yeah, it was last year, I think, halfway through the game cycle, around then, I believe, got added in, allowing other drivers to see the penalties. So Ford is well aware of BP's penalties, and I'm sure under his helmet, under his lid, he is sort of smiling a little bit at that penalty, saying, BP, yep, sure, you keep picking up those penalties, and that makes my job a lot easier. Bags picking up another. He's got to be a little bit careful. We've got just over 10 laps, and he's getting a little bit close to that disqualification mark with the penalties. Is it 30 seconds? Is the cut-off for that?
I believe I have seen higher than 30 seconds.
Yes, and I think it's scales as well to do with race length, right?
Yeah.
Potentially. BP again setting the fastest lap of the race. I'm not sure how much good that's going to do him at this stage, and that's going to be something he's definitely going to want to. He's going to look back and sort of think, if only I'd kept it a bit cleaner. Something I think definitely for him to focus on. He's got the raw speed. He also does have the consistency, keeping throughout the race. He rarely bins it, but it's just that penalty. He's just sort of sabotaging at this stage. The rest of the gaps all opening up to around 10 seconds. We don't have too much track action for you guys at the moment, but don't go anywhere just yet, because veterans of this that's just a lapped car, don't panic with the yellow flag. The veterans of this watching this tier will know that we have a super high occurrence of safety car in the last 10 laps, so even though the gaps are quite far apart, one little mistake, one little touch of that throttle or on a curb, and it's so easy to go around at this track, as we've seen from our losers from today, the guys who have DNF'd unfortunately. Racing up to our first course of the evening, going around at turn 12, Banana Josh also, Chronic Saints 2, Minardi Berger with that extreme physics coming around after losing the front wing into the gravel and then bouncing around the barriers. Ferrari Pro, our driver of the weekend, unfortunately also losing that in that tricky 12 section on the curves. And finally Alex 2 having gone around with that incident into the back of Silverfall. 9 drivers still left. All of those will be getting the points as long as they keep it within the track and not in the barrier. And yeah, less than 10 laps to go in this race, so props to those guys who have kept it going, because this is, it's no mean feat, this endurance. Definitely, a lot of respect to these guys racing in this tier, because all the other tiers in are 50% races. It's half the length of this, and this is double the length of all the other races. So just even racing it and making it to the end is a great achievement. Would you race in endurance, Tent?
Look, I would like to, but I don't think I really have that consistency. Granted, I would probably build it up if I did, but I don't really have the drive to do it.
Plus, I need you too much in the comp box, right?
Yeah, and it's good fun here in the comp box.
Yes. I like having two in the comp box here, and for those that maybe missed out from the start, our driver of the weekend was Ferrari Pro, and we're going to be following a different driver every weekend. We're going to be sort of following them through quali and having a little chat, and for you guys at home to sort of learn a bit more. You just see the names on the screen, some of these names, and they don't maybe mean so much to certain people, but I want to bring you a bit closer to those drivers, make it a bit more personal, hear a bit of their story. And Ford picking up a penalty there. Don't want to be getting too many of those at this stage. Yeah, just sort of learning a little bit about our drivers, a bit of the backstory behind them, about how they raced around, and their interest in Formula 1 and their interest in the track. So we'll be following around, like I said, a different driver every weekend. Through qualifying, they might take us through a hot lap around the track, and keeping an eye on their progress throughout the weekend. Unfortunately, Ferrari Pro, we lost him, and yeah, so that was a real shame. But next week, I believe, the only GeForce Ford has put his hand up to be with us. So we'll hear from this our current championship leader. It'll be very interesting to hear his take on the racing, how he's gone, and I'll be interested, just looking back at some of the races we've had and hear a little bit about him. So make sure you tune into that next week. We'll be racing at Imola. And Zach there picking a penalty again. BP still pushing on the fastest lap. Yeah, we're racing in Imola next week, so I think that'll be a fun race to hear Ford's take on it.
Yeah, for sure. And with any chance, we won't bestow the commentator's curse on him.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be helping out some of the other drivers, putting him off a little bit when he chats to us.
Yeah.
they might appreciate that. But we're not doing it on purpose at all. But yeah, I think maybe we Ferrari struggled a little bit with talking to us, but great for him for trying and talking to us. I think it's a really good insight into these drivers, especially in this endurance tier. But yeah, BP still putting in fastest laps. Ford picking up a penalty. Oh well. Ford responding with another fastest lap. He's still got the pace on those tyres. Look at him go. We're gonna be grilling him next week. I want to know what shape his tyres were in after this race, because look at him go on those. He's not pitted. For those that haven't been with us all the time, he has not pitted on those wet tyres, taken them all the way to the end. And just to prove to you guys there, 51 laps on these wet tyres. Zach also opting for the same strategy, and same with Silderfall. So props to all those guys, because that's pretty difficult. It's about to look at penalties. That's what I'm about to look at. Zach is in a little bit of a, that gap there. They'll be keeping an eye on this gap with Zach and Plevs. Plevs just now nipping under the 6-second gap, which would, if all things stay as they are right now, promote him onto the podium spot. So yeah, Zach definitely not going to want to pick up a penalty at this stage. Plevs, I'm sure, also is fully aware of the situation. But I think Zach will struggle. He's on that old tyre. Plevs on much fresher tyre. You can see he's just pull that gap consistently down every lap. It was sitting around 12 seconds after the pits, and now it's down to 5.
Yeah, as we're also seeing with BP, also closing that gap to Ford.
And BP, yeah, Zach just dropping off the back of those the two front runners, not being able to keep up with the pace of those guys. And I think that really shows you how strong and how impressive Ford's pace has been. Both those guys have worn tyres, but look at the gaps now, up in 25 seconds between those two drivers. Plus the 7 on from BP also. Less than 10 laps to go in this race. Everyone seems to picking up another penalty. I wonder what is that? What is the maximum you can have? Because he's definitely approaching that, and we would hate to see. I'm sure he doesn't want that to happen either. Hate to see us losing a driver via disqualification from penalties. That would be absolutely tragic, especially when we're so close to the end. So just keep it clean, guys. Keep it clean. We saw him sliding around a little bit. Let's take a little look at how his little race is going here. At the bit further down from everyone else. Did you not see Scotty lapping already? I thought maybe not. Yeah. Or BP pips up more penalties. With each penalty gained, it's just looking less and less likely for that top spot, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Even if he's going to catch him, he's just going to lose out to penalties, unfortunately. Maybe he's still thinking, I want to beat him on track. I want that. I want to be able to say I won on track.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a point to doing that, isn't there? It's a point of pride, beating him on track, even though he'll drop after the penalties. And but also, as this race goes on, less and less chance that we're going to have a safety car too.
Yeah, I'm sure Ford and BP are going to keep tussling for that extra point on that fastest lap.
Yes, of course. 1 point going to the fastest lap. So I'd imagine that's probably why BP is also pushing as well, because he wants to recover at least a little bit, grabbing that fastest lap. Ford, and also Ford wanting the honours of fastest lap too. He's going to do the Grand Slam, as they call it, pole position, fastest lap, and P1.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see them starting to save ERS a bit. Hopefully pushing for that lap.
Yeah, sitting back the same there. Last lap is very close to the fastest lap by BP as well. He's still pushing. But yeah, there's gaps closing down between BP and Ford and Plevs and Zach also. So I think Plevs is looking... No. Plevs needs to get down to 3 seconds, doesn't he, to get that P3. To get that P3 position. So he's got... Oh! Whoa! Is that Ford? That's Ford! Ford has gone round! I thought I saw him stop Mercedes. That is... Oh, that is some late final couple of laps drama. What has happened there? And does he have damage? What's happened? So he just dropped it. Is that an unforced error? He looks like he doesn't have damage. The tyre looks intact. Front tyres do. Rear tyre? Rear tyre... I don't know, that rear right, is that looking a bit wobbly to you, or is that just me?
I can't really tell. We'll see if he pits though.
It looks okay. His cornering seems fine. I think he just dropped it. Dropped it round. It's not a corner where you expect to have an issue, but I feel the traction is a little bit sparse around that corner, wouldn't you say? That 8, it's always, I find it a little bit on edge, especially in the wet round there.
Yeah, it is a bit sparse, as you said, that traction, and you just drop it pretty easily sometimes.
He keeps going, so not damage, but Ford, see, you know, just one little mistake, but luckily for him, those penalties are just about enough at this stage to keep him in the running.
Yeah, would need a 9-second gap, I believe.
Yeah, so it's maybe not all over for BP's race. BP had some pace. Suddenly, this has put a bit of a breath into BP's charge, and I think this will have bolstered him a little bit, and he will suddenly smell a victory. A dramatic change in the closing stages of this race. Smelling a victory is BP. Plevs bringing that gap down to the 3-second gap that he needs. Is almost there. I think we can pretty say that's looking like a more and more certain every lap. And yeah, we're going to be following this back speaking another penalty. Careful on those 30 seconds. I'm not sure if anybody in the chat knows exactly what the cut-off is for disqualification, but I really hope that Bags can keep it to the end of this race. 8 seconds. That has dropped a large amount in this lap. What's going on here? Is his tyres finally given away? Has he just pushed that little bit too much? Pushed those tyres just past where they want to be in the life. And
hang off that curve there as well. They might be dead.
And you know, we see that they sort of hitting, as they speak, hitting the wall or hitting the cliff. We find that with the tyres. Wow, Plevs out of nowhere that with the fastest lap. That was unexpected. I think the fuel now dropping off. People charging up their battery. A couple of laps to go. Maybe you don't want to make your move too early. Use up all your battery. He's only got 5%. He's not going to be able to respond probably. BP's got 50%. Suddenly, a charge for fastest lap out of nowhere. Plevs currently holds, but I think they'll be responding within these laps. But I think, yeah, Ford's tyres may have just hit the cliff. They hit the cliff, and that's it. It's sort of game over. You can't recover, and then you just lose the grip.
Yeah, and we've got Silver for it in the way here. I believe he's goes to AI at the moment. I think I saw him disconnected earlier.
Did you? Okay, because it does ghost lapped cars, so automatically I believe, so to not get in the way. In the chat, hey boys, racing up to hats off to all the drivers, made it this far. Indeed, it is it's a feat to make it this far, and good job to all those guys racing up to. You'll get there. You know, this is only the third race of the season, and I've definitely seen all these guys throughout the race improve over time. Yeah, Plebs, master of getting low penalties. Come on, BP, does Clunky Boy says it's all coming down to the wire. He's got 8.8 seconds. It's gone to 9 seconds, the gap to Ford. In the last lap, Plebs also has really cut down on Jack, but it doesn't really matter. I think he's going to have that anyway. It's all between these two guys at the front. I know Ford knows that, and look how much he's struggling with the traction coming around these last couple of corners. Come on, guys, Mighty Wombat 2. You can keep it in this race. It's one lap left now to the end of this race. 9.4 seconds. Ford, does he have an answer for BP?
I don't know. BP's looking real quick on those fresh, well, not super fresh, but good wets, and yeah, these old wets that Ford's on are just looking like they're struggling.
Yeah, he looked to really sort of take it a bit easy on that curb. He's using all of that energy. He's going to empty the battery to try and, yeah, he's gone too hard, gone wide there. It's going to cost him even more time, and you know what that's done? That's pretty much given it to BP. He's just got a couple of corners left now in this race. What a drama. Last couple of laps, I tell you guys, it always happens. Last couple of lap drama. BP coming around the final corners, keep it out of the wall, keep it clean. And we're going to see BP cross the line in P1. G-Force Ford, can he just hold on to that P2? He's going to be P2 for Ford, even with the penalties, I believe. He has shown his frustration. I think he was very frustrated with himself into the wall there. Not really supposed to do that, but I think it just shows the passion that Ford had. He is definitely annoyed with himself. That mistake. And yeah, it's cost him the victory around here. Zach coming around in P3, but because of the oh yes, we're going to have some crashes. That's yeah, we don't really like to see that, especially with the lapped cars. But yeah, good job by the Alpine boys there. P3 and P4, excellent job in the points there. Scotty will come round now to. Looks like he's going to secure P5. So a great race from Scotty, I have to say. He didn't have an ideal qualifying, but kept it clean, kept it safe. Once again, scoring some good points today. Also Karma for bringing it home in the McLaren. I just want to show their position changes there. Yeah, Scotty up 5 positions. Karma losing a couple, but I think coming home to the points is just a great feat from these guys too.
Yeah, and I believe BP took the fastest lap on that last lap there, so an extra point as well.
Yeah, that's really kicking the nads for Ford there. Fastest lap as well. And yeah, Silderfort, props to him. He did that same strategy, him and Zach, not pitting at all, taking those lap tyres all the way. Driver of the day goes to Scotty from the game. And yeah, and the Aston Martin boys, let's not forget those guys. They may have finished last, but they still scored the points, and P8 and P9, a solid finish from those boys there. The Haas of BP, we really thought he had messed that up, hadn't we, with the penalties?
Yeah, for sure, but I guess just continuously pushing, even if he was getting the penalties, putting that pressure on Ford, could have cost him that mistake.
Yeah, what a turnaround. What a turnaround. Just shows you, you know, just it's not over till it's over. You just have to keep it in there, and that little mistake crept in from Ford, cost him the victory in the end. Still a podium, so still a strong finish from Ford, not to take that away in any way at all, but you can see that confirmation of BP's fastest lap there too. And you know what I'm going to try and do again this time, before the lobby absolutely decides that it's going to make a hash. I'm going to jump out of this just hang on, guys. I'm going to try and get you the highlights of this race just to finish off. If you guys want to watch that. But once again a crazy race there. Just the turnaround at the end.
Yeah, I think Ford shouldn't be too upset with the P2. After all, he did come from the back of the grid with that incident with BP early in the race, and coming back to P2 is still an amazing feat.
Yeah, and props to all those guys that finished. Unfortunately, you know, we lost quite a lot of drivers as it was with those tricky conditions, but you know, that's going to happen. And yeah, so thanks everybody for tuning in to this Race Spec Endurance League. We will be back next week with Imola, another tricky track, and we'll have G-Force Ford. It hasn't saved the highlights, unfortunately. Again, I'm not sure why it sometimes does that and why it sometimes doesn't do that, so I'll look into that. But thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks Tent-Sandles for commentating with me. It was a pleasure as usual.
Yeah, it was good fun. Thank you for having me.
And thanks once again to Ferrari Pro for being our first driver of the weekend feature.